Hello. My name is Scotty Brimmer, and I work with Markel Corporation in the United States. And I'm just here to talk to you a little bit about how we integrated our Agile tools. The current state, well, the state before we did that, we had a dev team that used Jira for everything, the whole Atlassian stack, not just Jira. They used, Bamboo on Subversion, all their defect tracking and their release management. However, we have a lot of legacy applications that have been around 20 years, whatever, and everyone used Quality Center. They tracked all their bugs out of Quality Center, their requirements, their test cases, their executions. They had the whole traceability matrix in Quality Center. And if you have teams that have been in your company 10, 20 years, they're not too keen on the idea of switching tools. Well, what happened was migrating them all to one tool set wasn't really an option, especially because there were thousands of regression test cases in Quality Center that they used. Plus, they kind of had a well-oiled machine with how they had their requirements and test cases and executions, and then their defect tracking. So there was no real data sharing there, and they would often drop the ball because if they found a defect in Quality Center, then they'd have to go manually recreate it in Jira so the dev teams could pick it up. When they would put it in for a release, sometimes that information didn't get back to Quality Center, and the testers are like, what do you mean I've got to test these for the release going out next week? I've got no idea what I'm doing. So there were a lot of problems there. And just to let you know, I'm the tools admin. I'm not like a release planner or a tester or anything. So when they said, Scotty, we've got to integrate Quality Center and Jira, we had an embedded testing solution, but we've got to keep Quality Center. What are we going to do? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So I just went looking out there, and I knew that we had to find an enterprise-grade solution that's going to connect these together. The big challenge is, even though I'm the app admin, is also have to do the system admin, and I am very technically challenged when it comes to system admin things. And a lot of you might find yourselves in a situation where, I need to find an integration tool, but it wants me to install it on a different server, and I've got to do configurations, and we're running, HTTPS. And if you don't have like a server team or that type of admin team, it can be really challenging to get those implemented. So I went off into the world of the integration tools, looking to simplify the integration. And we evaluated probably 3 different solutions. And the one thing I do encourage you to do when you're evaluating solutions to integrate your tools, don't just see a demo, install a trial. Install it, because when you go to do that yourself, it's a lot different than when you're watching a demo, because you'll run into problems, or you're like, what did they do? They made it look so simple. So after we did the evaluations and had the trials and got them all connected, we settled in on Connect All. Connect All is from Go-To Group. They're here today. They're over there. They'll show you a demo. I don't have any screenshots here because you're going to get the most valuable information if you go see them show you, because you don't want me to show you. But there were several reasons why we settled on Connect All. One is it was scalable. We had the teams in Quality Center, but we also had folks using TFS. And we have a service desk tool that's not Jira Service Desk, even though I wish it was. But. So this gave us the ability to connect all these different tools together. And the deployment was another thing. You can use their cloud version, but we're all server-based because we're behind like 7,000 firewalls. And it was easy to install. I was able to install it. I ran into a couple glitches. I called them up or sent in a ticket, and within 4 hours, we had screen shared and I was up and running. And then the UI was another thing. It's really easy to set up new configurations. You can master slave your tool sets. So if your system of record is one over the other, you can have bi-directional or one direction only, but you can have a hybrid of them within different projects. So we were able to have the defect status be only from JIRA to Quality Center, but then have the attachments and the steps to reproduce go just one way to JIRA, but then have comments sync bidirectionally. Excuse me. So what that was able to give us was the traceability matrix is intact. You can track from the requirements in the test cases, link and jump right over to JIRA. You've got your dev stack, your DevOps able to go. They can fix your bugs, deploy, and all that. Still, the traceability's intact. The teams are communicating better. There's no manual entry in one tool or another. And there's no disruption in delivery. You're not having to jump from one tool to the other. No manual reentry where you're going to do human error. The attachments go. So it's really been invaluable to us to be able to have that integration together. So the teams that are well seasoned in one tool can keep theirs. The dev team that's used to JIRA can keep that. And it, I hate to say it because when I finish here, I'll get a phone call, but it never breaks. I know what I just did. It's going to break tonight. Sorry, I didn't do it. But we installed this about 1.5 years ago, and it's set it and forget it. The only time I have to go in there is when someone says, hey, we want to sync a new field, or we want to create a new field for our test cases that we want to come over to the bugs in JIRA. So we've been really pleased with it. So I just want to let y'all know how we integrated Quality Center and JIRA. And short and sweet, that's it. Thanks. Go over and see GoToGroup if you want them to tell you what it looks like.